Hello, it's Col Fairbrother here, WDTV, and this show is for you guys in construction. For anybody who wants to know more about construction employment, umbrella companies, anything to do with construction at all, we're here to help. I want to hear your experiences about umbrella companies and working with agencies and the kind of stories they've told you. We've got Steve live on the phone now. Steve's going to tell us he's worked in the construction industry for many years, and we're going to have a little chat with Steve now. Hello, Stephen. How you doing?
Hello, mate.
Hi.
I'm good.
Yeah, welcome to the show. Right, so you've worked in the construction industry for many years. Just tell us a bit about yourself and what you've done.
Right. Well, it's a bit of a varied life, I suppose. I started off as a labourer, £3 a day. Went off and did a carpentry course in the early 80s. One of those government courses that you were meant to be an improver, but Maggie Thatcher had a wicked way with the world, so there was no work. So I started off as a self-employed window fixer. I did that for quite some time. Eventually I found my way into London, doing fast office fit-outs. I worked on Euro Disney when that was happening. I worked in the oil industry. And I was a freelance site manager, after a few twists and turns,
Well, I think
various different trades.
I think it'd be safe to say you've seen a lot of changes in the industry over the last 20 or 30 years or so then.
I have, I have. Most for the good.
What do you think the biggest change has been that you've seen that sort of, if you take you back to your earlier days when you were just starting out to what it is now, what big differences have you seen change in the construction industry?
It's the understanding of how dangerous our career is, or our job is.
Yeah.
It's health and safety, but in a proper way. It's health and safety to get people home safe. With
the evolution of the CSCS card and the CPCS card and people being checked and making sure they can actually do the type of work.
Yeah, and just the understanding of blokes on site. But they're not doing this because the health and safety man told them they've got to do it, but this is how we keep each other alive.
So
I've seen massive, I could tell you stories that would seem unbelievable to me even now,
Crazy. So what's the craziest thing that you've seen back in the day when, it just wouldn't happen now?
Well, I remember early doors gutting out houses and ripping off asbestos boards. And throwing them on fires, trying to burn them.
Oh, God.
I remember, working up 40, 50 foot doing demolition. We were told we had to wear hard hats and high-vis vests, but there was no safety netting, or we were running along 6-inch wide timbers with mattocks in our hands, cutting all these metal sheets off the roof, and there was no safety at all other than, like I say, a high-vis hat and a yellow vest.
Yeah. I mean, I guess there were no inductions in those days as well. Nobody had an induction before they started work.
No.
So you just
no one was inducted. The health and safety people they had no confidence in what they were doing. So they didn't. Like I say, they would insist you wore a hard hat and a yellow vest, despite any other real dangers that you were being
so they just
asked to work with.
So they just asked you to put a hard hat on and a vest, and that was it.
Yeah, that ticked all the boxes in those days.
It's crazy if you consider what it is to work on site now, when you've got to take your induction, you've got to have your tickets, you've got to do your touchscreen test. It's a completely different world.
Yeah. I mean, for me, even the fact that there's an obligation on employers to make sure there's adequate toilets on site is a massive step forward. Massive step forward.
Right.
From the way we used to work.
I believe so, and of course the money's changed. It's got a little bit better than £3 an hour.
Slightly better.
Right. So, how do you recall agencies back in those days? What was your experience? Did you come across them, or is it something you knew about?
No, when I started, you didn't really have agencies. You had labour masters.
Okay.
And you turned up. You met him in a pub normally. and he told you that he had a job kicking off in a week or so, and away you went. You didn't really, the agency scene come for me later.
So when did you start to feel that agencies were having an impact on the building sites? When would you try and pinpoint that to?
Oh, well, I would, it'd be in the 80s.
Yeah.
In the 80s.
Yeah.
It was quite a fair old time back. But, all of a sudden, it seemed like, when I started, initially you used to have people who were what we used to call on the cards.
Okay, right, yeah.
And you was either on the cards or you was a temporary worker, which meant you were paid cash.
Right, so it would be a situation...
Then remember all the big... there was all the big problems about the lump, and supposedly in them days they used to say it was IRA terrorists were profiting from all this cash money.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So the way you got work was you were either working directly for the company, or you just walked on the site and said, "I'm looking for work. Have you got any work?" And they just put
or you knew someone who was kicking off doing something.
And when did you when did you start to feel like people started to turn up that were from employment agencies?
It's got to be the 80s again.
Yeah.
Mid-80s maybe.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the first job I got. Well, I worked directly for an agency.
Right.
And it would have been. I know that a lot of the time when I started, it's probably still the same today. We used to get the Sun on the the Evening Standard most days, and the Sun and the Evening Standard specifically on a Thursday.
Oh, right. Okay.
If my memory serves me right, and it used to have all we want scaffolders, we want carpenters, we want ceiling fixers, we want whatever, and then you'd phone people up.
Okay.
Book a job, and that's how we ended up working in Europe, isn't it?
So have you felt from that early days of agencies when they began to now? Would you say that the agencies are a little bit more cutthroat now than what they used to be? Would you say?
They seem to be. They seem to be a lot more market driven.
Right, so not about the individual, it's just about, making the money. They want to make as much money as they possibly can rather than caring about
Yeah. Now I will regularly get offered the same job from 3 different agencies.
Oh, okay.
But that never happened. That never used to happen.
Right, okay.
And
what about if you're getting those 3 offers of work employment from the agency? Is the money always the same, or do they try and glitz it up a little bit and get we can get you more money? It's going to be a longer Do they try and sell it to you so you feel like it's going to be bigger than what it is?
Do you want to know the truth?
Yeah.
I feel that the quality of people trying to deal with the end user, me, has dropped considerably. I don't think they try anywhere near as hard as the old agents I used to work with. I used to get lots and lots. I used to get lots and lots of feedback. I used to get lots and lots of. It felt like we were working together to get me placed.
And
when it was time to move on, they'd be calling me a couple of weeks before it was time to move on to say, look, we've got these other things that you might be interested in. Blah blah blah. And what about money? And it was. I feel, and this may be it may be just me, but I feel that it's got a lot more automatic. People, because they're dealing with things online all the time, and they obviously there's no heart in it. That's what seems
so you don't
personal connection.
So you don't feel that you represent yourself anymore. You just kind of feel you're just a product, and you just get put out there, and nobody really cares anything. Just
I just get the feeling that 60 emails come in, and they randomly pick 4 or 5 to pass on to the client.
So you don't.
They don't really spend enough time finding out about you or what you're capable of.
So you don't feel like you're building anything. You don't feel like if you do a good day's work with on one particular building site, you don't feel like you're building something. Something's being built by what you're doing. It's just like get on here, do the job, get off, and then you get forgotten about unless they pick you in the list of workers. Right? No, I understand.
That's right. Well, I used to think of it like Team Steve. Steve needed the work. Steve had a couple of representatives out there who were replacing me if he needed it. Steve would call up, say, I'm just finishing on this job, you need to find me something else. Steve would, phone up. Even the big boys like Hayes and that, I had, individual phone. I phone up. I say, look, I've been with you for a while. I've been working with McGinley for argument's sake. But I'm looking for something in London. I want this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
All right, they'd say, right, we'll get back to you. And then they would, they'd be on the phone within a couple of days.
I mean, what it's come down to at the moment, that I know, I've got 30 years of experience in recruitment. What it comes down to now these days is what they do is they basically, it comes down to money. So what they'll do is you'll be on the phone looking for work, and they'll just put you on the system, and then maybe you get a phone call. They won't remember you 10 seconds after the phone call's finished. And then what they'll do is that when they call you for work, they'll try and, if you like, lowball you down to try and make your rate as little as possible so they can boost their margin.
Yes.
Now,
there's a lot more of that.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, what also will happen will be they'll say to you, the client will ring up, and he'll say, "I need a labourer for 2-3 weeks," and what they'll tell you is, "You got 2 or 3 months on this job, so you think you're going to be going to a job for the next 3 months, and then when you get there, you'll be working at a week, 2 weeks, or maybe in some cases even a day, because they will."
Well, I've just got to say, just to make anybody who's a labourer not feel picked upon, I'm a construction manager and a site manager, and they do exactly the same to me.
Yeah.
They treat everybody with the same amount of disrespect.
It's terrible.
And well, I'll tell you what it is. It's inhuman because I would turn up for a day. If someone said there's a day's work, and it was one of my agents who I work with a lot, and he said, "Look, Steve, I've got this little job. Could you pop over to such and such a place for 5 days? Someone's gone sick."
Yeah.
I would gladly go over there for 5 days, so they don't have to pretend it's 2 months' work.
Yeah, I mean,
because 5 days, it's not going to stop me from taking phone calls from people on other jobs. It's not going to take me. But if I've been told it's 2 months' work. I'm talking retrospectively here. When I was very busy, but I would turn jobs down. If I'd given my word that I was turning up on a job tomorrow for 6 months, I would turn everything else down. I'd say, "No, sorry, I'm just starting a job, blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry about that. I'll let you know when I'm free again."
It's terrible. I mean, how some of these agencies treat people, though.
Well, I can't see how long. I mean, obviously, the big boys, Hayes and the like. I suppose weight of numbers keeps them going, but some of the more sort of up and coming agencies, I don't know how they survive, because you're only going to end up with, once you've been treated like that once by an agency, you're going to treat them like that.
That's
true. I'll go there for 3 days. I won't do much. I'll be on the phone all the time finding my next place.
Yeah.
The fact that I've told them I'm going to be there for 6 months, who cares? Once you start, it's no good for anybody. It's no good for the clients. It's no good for the recruiters. They're never going to get their money for placing you. And you're going to be, going all over the place. No, it's no good. It's no good for anybody.
I agree. And that's why I developed... over the last 5 years, after, if you like, 30 years of experience working in the industry, the WDG employment app, which you can get on Google and iTunes, iPhone, you can download it to your mobile. And what that does is that allows you to create an actual profile. You can put who you've worked for, you can write what you've done in your history, like you just said to me, what type of work you want to do, how much money you expect to be paid per hour, and then what it does is every time there's a job for your particular type of work, you'll get notified if it's within 25 miles of where you live. Then at that point you'll have the opportunity to accept it or not accept it. But the very cool thing with this is that there's a trail. So when that contractor, like if I'm a contractor and I ring up an agency and I'll ask him how much is it for a labourer, the agency might say £18 an hour, for example.
Yeah.
Now, from that point moving forwards, it's up to the agency to try and make as much margin as they can. So although although that agency is charging £18 an hour, if you like, to pay for everything they need to function, they'll come then on the phone to the labourer and they'll say to the labourer, we'll pay you, example, £11 or £12 an hour.
Yeah.
So the contractor thinks, he's getting a good labourer to turn up on the job. But what we've done with the app is that when that contractor puts a rate of pay for the worker, that is the rate of pay that the worker gets. So he knows that he's going to get a more reliable worker, and the worker knows exactly how much that contractor is saying how much he's going to get per hour. So there's no, So there's no confusion about that. And also on top of that, you have the ability to turn down these jobs or accept these jobs. And as you do your job, like we discussed earlier, you work and then you go to the next job and nobody knows who you are. We give you the ability to actually build, it's like a worker reliability score. So as that score goes up, when you've said, yes, I want a job, you go to the top of the heap because you're the guy who turned up on the last job and the last job and the last job, and now you've built something for yourself. So that means you now can actually build your own, you can build your own rating so you can actually get more money. It's that simple. Yeah.
No, but that's brilliant. I mean, when you was talking, you only talked briefly about it, but I was really impressed then. Because it's what needs to happen.
That's right.
It's what needs to happen. I've never had a problem with an agent earning out of me. I never have, because obviously as long as he kept me working, I didn't care what he earned as long as I had a good rate, and and I had my rate and I asked for it, and I only occasionally shifted off my rate towards the end once I'd sort of established myself.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, you get a much better response if you're present. I mean, we've set up the app so you represent yourself to that contractor directly. So there's no agency in the middle. So what words you put, and you can even you can put a photograph of yourself on the app or whatever you're into, and they get an image of who you are. So basically, you don't have that agency. Now, have you had any experience working with the likes of umbrella companies, by the way?
Yeah. Yes, I have.
And
I've worked with them for quite a while.
And and they charged and took a percentage out of your money, I assume,
right? They did. I've been out of it for a little while because in the end I decided to buy an off-the-shelf limited company.
Yeah.
To instead of using the umbrella company.
How did you feel?
Go on.
How did you feel when you got your money that you worked for, and then you found somebody else is taking money out of what you were? I mean, how does that make you feel you have to pay to get paid?
I've got to tell you, because I've run several businesses of my own.
Okay, that was great to listen to Stephen. I think we lost him for a second there. Now we have Paul Weston, construction company owner, and he's going to be talking to us about what he's done in his history. And hello Paul, welcome to WDG TV. How you doing?
I'm all right, yourself?
I'm good. Right, well, Paul's worked in the construction industry for how many years now, Paul?
32 years.
32 years. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, Paul, so everybody can know who you are and what you do.
Bricklayer by trade, born and bred in the UK, went over to Australia, lived and worked there 15 years, came back to the UK, probably running a construction company.
Right, okay. So what type of work does your company do?
Predominantly masonry, brickwork, blockwork, stonework, but we do a bit of steel and a few other trades, but yeah, predominantly brickwork.
Right, great. Okay, well, I was just talking to Stephen, who'd been in the construction industry since, I think it was back in the 70s, way back to the 70s. And he was telling us about, first of all, as a labourer getting £3 an hour, and then working up and running big projects. He was telling us there's been a lot of changes. What kind of changes do you feel like you've seen, Paul, over the past 30 years since you went out there on site for the first time?
I think basically standards have dropped immensely. We struggle to get the trades now because there's just nobody wants to do dirty trades anymore.
Yeah. And so you feel that the quality of labour's, if you like, gone down, but the prices are increasing.
Definitely.
And how do you find? I mean, obviously you work with the bricklayers. I mean, how would you compare the bricklayers that you would get from like 30 years ago to now, what would you say the standards are? Are they the same, or is it how do you feel?
It's far worse. It's far worse. I mean, it's not even 30 years ago. I would say 5 or 8 years ago, the standard has dropped since.
Yeah.
We had a recession and a lot of people left the trade, and now there's a bit of a boom. We get chances. We've got a lot of chances in the industry at the moment.
Yeah. Okay, so obviously you've worked in the industry a long time. You probably get quite a lot of employment agencies on the phone to you all the time, trying to chase to get their workers to work for you. How do you feel? How do you feel if you think about agencies, sort of when you became a project manager and then leading into owning your own business? But how do you feel that agencies, in your experience, from the beginning to now, do you think there's been a big difference there, or do you think are they a little bit kind of more greedier now than they used to be? I mean, what's your feeling about that?
Yeah, I think they're greedier now, and I don't think they do the checks that they used to do.
Right.
A lot of the ones that turn up, if they do turn up, aren't up to scratch.
Yeah. So do you feel that the individuals that you get, you've got no idea who you're getting? It's just somebody turns up and you haven't got a clue. Okay.
And that's if they turn up at all, because obviously, we don't know them, and as a rule, neither do the agencies. They are just fishing, basically, and spending what they can.
Okay, and I mean, do you feel that when these lads turn up on the job that they've been offered a lot more than what there is actually there? Do you think they've been sold to, if you like?
Well, yes, there's always an embellishment to try and get the lads to start, isn't it? Where they say there's maybe 6 months work, and there's only a month, and
yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously, you know about the WDG app. I'm sure. Do you feel would that be something that would help you to be, if you could? You say the rate of pay you want to pay. You know what the app makes, which is 9% over the worker's wage. You pick the worker, and all these workers get the honest information of what the job is, and you can see your skills. Do you think that's something? As a contracts manager, business owner, construction company owner, do you think that's something that helps you, that you can actually pick the person that you're going to get and there's no agency involvement?
Of course it does, because that allows us to communicate with the actual person rather than through a third party, and you can speak to them and engage their experience. And yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and how do you feel also that, when you speak to an agency, and let's say you're desperate for a bricklayer, for example, do you often have the feeling that the agency will try to make as much margin off the worker as they possibly can? So, for example, if you get on the phone with them and they'll say to you it's £24 for a brickie, they'll pay that bricklayer as least amount as possible.
Yes, and that's where all the problems start, because obviously they are trying to recoup as much money as they can, or make as much money as they can. So they're paying the bricklayer or labourer a low rate, which then you're not going to get the standard that you want.
Yeah. Okay. Just going to go to a quick commercial. Just a few seconds, Paul. We'll be straight back with you. Hello, we're back here with Paul Weston. Paul Weston is a UK construction company owner, and he has worked with agencies for many years, and he feels like there's a lot of gaps there. He doesn't feel like he gets the right person. They're expensive. The workers have been sold to, so when they get there, they have no idea. So how do you see the future of construction? How do you think things are going to change in the future?
Right. We need to get more young people more training, get more people willing to work within the construction industry, and then obviously quality is going to improve.
Yeah.
So basically,
So do you feel that more people are going to be sort of pushed into the after the close of the Brexit, if you like? Do you think the government will be looking and focusing on training younger individuals like they used to?
Yes. I'm hoping so anyway. The industry definitely needs it, not just brickwork, all trades, everybody's struggling.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Right, and do you think this app is a good thing for these construction workers, so that they don't need to sort of go through the sort of the wall of the agency, if you like?
Exactly, that's what it is. It's a new way of finding work and finding workers.
Yeah.
It puts the two together and lets you interact. Much easier better than adverts in papers like it was all done in my day. At least you can see and speak to the person that you're potentially going to employ.
Yeah, and also with the app, you'll see a full work history. You'll see a copy of their tickets. You'll see how long they've worked, and in their own words, what they've done. You'll even see a photograph of the individual, so you know who's going to turn up on the site. How do you feel that the app would compare to something like using Indeed? What would you?
Indeed is okay. I mean, we use Indeed, but there is no, other than a quick 2-minute conversation or a text conversation saying what's the rate, right, I'll be there Monday. That's all. You don't know anything about these people, what their history is, where they've come from, what they've been doing. You don't know any of that.
Yeah.
Until they turn up, that's if they do turn up, which a lot of them don't.
Yeah, and obviously what we do is we give the worker the ability to create a worker reliability score, which is based on their timekeeping, their productivity. So the higher the score goes, the more money the worker can ask for, because, I mean, you'd pay a little bit more, wouldn't you, if you know you're going to get a lot more work out of somebody because he's been building this score, wouldn't you?
Exactly that. There's no point in paying £15 an hour if he's not going to show up. You're just paying £17 an hour and the person's showing up, aren't you?
Yeah. So what this score is a great thing for the worker is that as that score goes up, it allows the worker to be able to, if you like, demand or ask for more money. And you as a contractor, you don't mind paying that little bit more money because you know it's going to go to the worker and not the agency. So then what happens is the principle behind that is that you get a more reliable worker who's going to turn up, because to build that score takes around about 1 to 2 months. So even a brush hand, if you like, or a general site labourer, they can actually build something. Yeah, so it's a great benefit for them as well. So Paul, what would you say to construction workers out there watching this video? What would you say to them about joining the app, the WDG employment app on Google and iTunes? What would you say to them?
Well, what better way to do it? You're dealing direct with the employer. You can negotiate your own rate, and obviously, as you've just said, that the harder you work, the more reliable you are, the more money you can earn.
Right, that's right.
It's a win-win.
Yeah. Well, Paul, thank you for coming on WDG TV on our first show. I'm sure Paul will join us again sometime in the future, but thank you for your time, Paul, and it was a pleasure talking to you.
No worries, Carl. Thanks for that.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye now.
Yes, bye.
So here we have it. This is our first show. We would love you to subscribe, and you'll hear more stories from our construction workers. Steve, great. He's there looking for work. He's a site manager, and he has a lot of experience in the industry. So you'll be able to find him in the app. He works in the London area, and we would love to hear your stories. If you'd like to appear on the next WDG TV show, please subscribe and send us an email. So have a wonderful day, and we look forward to speaking to you in about a week. And that's it from WDG TV. Have a great day.